Hey, what's going on, guys? So, we got a story to cover that. Honestly, if I hadn't read the full thing, I would think that somebody made this up. Because this almost seems like the extreme end of what people always say that they fear, and then it actually happens. So, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you might have remembered hearing about a story about a person by the name of Barbie Kardashian. So, if you aren't familiar with this, it's fine. That's why I'm here. So, the way this goes is, in 2001, Barbie Kardashian, or Gabriel Alejandro Gentil or Gentile, however you want to pronounce it, was found guilty for making threats towards his mother, threatening to take his mom's life, commit assault, assault causing harm, and assault causing criminal damage to property. So 2023 rolls around, and now we actually have to come down to sentencing. And so he was sentenced to 5 years in jail. So now the inevitable question that would come up is, okay, well, why are we covering this? It just sounds like another individual that was sentenced that changed how they identify. Well, the reason why this story is in the news now is because he was sentenced to about 5 years and a half in jail. Now, let me just clarify something. This is not a North American story, but everyone has their eyes on this because of the implications that could play out later. Situations like this have happened, but not necessarily to this degree from someone who's admittedly and almost seems to glee in the fact that they are this violent. This is Ireland's problem. So now, let's get back to it. The reason why this is in the news today is because Barbie is going to spend that time, that same 5.5 years, in a female prison, alongside biological females that identify as female. So obviously, with that being said, you know the thoughts that are going to be going through everyone's heads as we all ask ourselves the same thing. Why would you put this kind of dangerous individual to serve out their sentence alongside females? Someone who knowingly has a hostility towards females. You're willingly putting them in harm's way. And for what? To be politically progressive? That's foolish. And nobody with half a brain would do something like this.
And this individual is now in a women's prison in Limerick among female inmates. So, Taoiseach, yes or no question, do you believe that Barbie Kardashian is a woman?
Well, look, I don't know anything about the case yet. So I first saw it reported at the weekend, and I'm gonna have to look into it and talk to Minister Harris about it. I know that a similar situation arose in Scotland, and it was necessary there to change the law to make sure the women were protected. So we may have to consider that, but only heard about this case first at the weekend. So I'd like to inform myself fully before any further comment.
I guess there is a silver lining in all of this though. So dangerous prisoner Barbie Kardashian is on strict solitary confinement, where he will not be allowed to mix with the rest of the female population that are in prison. That is something that they've made very clear, because now they're trying to do what we would call damage control, because they know how this looks. Don't get me wrong, I get it, you want to be progressive, but this is just foolish. So they have to do some coverage. So some of the details that they share is the area that he's going to be held is in Limerick prison. He's going to be locked up for 21 hours a day and will never be allowed to mix with them. Now, let's pause right there. Let's really just pause and take a look at what was just stated. 21 hours a day, you're going to be locked up and will never be allowed to mix with them. Who's the them in this sentence? The them in that sentence are the other females. This is what you call playing with fire. Because they're willing to acknowledge in their actions that this person is dangerous. This person cannot be left alone to mingle with the other individuals because we recognize that there's a difference. If there wasn't a difference that they're blatantly acknowledging with their actions, maybe not so with their words, in the sense that they're identifying the correct pronouns, they've chosen the jailing location to also identify with that same pronoun, but the actions acknowledge that there is a difference and this person is hostile and we cannot leave this individual alone with the remaining female population. That is the hypocrisy that we acknowledge here. Because if he was just a girl like all the other girls, why not allow him to just mingle? But like I stated earlier, damage control, right? So Kardashian, who's now legally recognized as a female, it's stated here, and I wish I actually had a video of this. I like video evidence, what can I say? But allegedly, even some of the officers are in fear after Kardashian allegedly made some threats behind bars. This is seriously one of those cases where you just ask yourself, why? What is this for? What is the purpose behind any of this? Why would you put yourself in a situation like this? All the signs are there for you to stop. Everything there is screaming out, don't do this. You know what this is like actually? Here's what this is like. Imagine for a second, you're on a beach. You're walking through the sand. The sand is nice, soft, very beautiful day. And as you're walking down the beach, you cut yourself right on your foot. Your foot starts gushing out blood all everywhere, I mean. So for some reason, you get the notion, okay, I'm too far from my room, but I want to clean this cut. I don't want my foot to just be bleeding like this. So because you're on the beach, you see the water and you say, okay, I'm going to go in the water, I'm going to clean this cut. And as you're looking into the water, with your foot bloody as ever, you see about 6-7 great white sharks right at the shore. Now, we all know that's a dangerous situation, right? But you got two options here. You could technically just, grab a little bit of the water as the wave just pushes some of the water up and just grab a little bit, sprinkle it on your foot. But no. You're brave. You got this. So you decide, I don't want to sprinkle water. I want to make sure that this cut is clean. I'm going to, with my bloody foot, swim about 40 feet out there just so I can make sure that this cut is clean in the middle of the sharks, and I'm going to trust that they won't do anything to me. Why? Because I haven't been bitten by a shark before. But ask yourself this. How many of you have ever seen a shark that, as you have blood all over yourself, was 100% sure, you were 100% sure it wouldn't bite you? If you explain that same story to anyone, and you were to do a situation like this and somehow come out scot-free, tell that story to someone and they would say that you were foolish. Knowingly putting yourself in harm's way. Knowing that there's a pit bull over the fence, you jump the fence anyway. Knowing that there's a shark in the water, you decide to go out swimming. That is this situation here. But then again, of course, there are some people out there that are going to disagree and say, no, nothing will happen. He identifies as XYZ, so don't worry, it's cool. The moment you start identifying as something else, it brings all that anger down. But I digress. So according to Irish Mirror, sources have confirmed that Kardashian is on a landing of Limerick prison that is completely separated from the rest of the female prisoner population, but does share this landing with other trans individuals and trans prisoners and 2 people that took the life of a child who are each never allowed to mix. It almost seems like they recognize that this person is completely dangerous. So just to kind of conclude this story, so they say, in spite of the sources saying there have been challenges in terms of Kardashian's behavior around prison staff, who he's allegedly threatened, be allowed 3 hours a day to go into the yard, to the gym, basically 3 hours of freedom, but will always be accompanied by a guard. That is natural. But one source on Irish Mirror says that even though Kardashian is under surveillance, will always be a threat. One silver lining in how they acknowledge this, though, is they say that even if Kardashian was moved to a male prison, the exact same conditions would be put in place. How true that is, I guess we'll never know. But that then tells me that this move was a social one, which is absolutely crazy to think about. But ask yourself this, though. Even if Kardashian was placed in isolation in a male-populated prison, what harm are you really going to do to the other males? Probably nothing, right? There's probably more of a chance that they're going to do something to you. So a couple of points here. In 2020, Kardashian was granted a gender recognition certificate by the Department of Social Protection in recognition that he is now identified as a female. And from the trial last May, a jury found Kardashian guilty for 7 threats against the mother and was found not guilty for 4 additional charges threatening to cause harm and such. Obviously unrepentant. There's some more notes in here, but you get the gist of what this story really is talking about, right? Listen to me. There are just certain things that are common sense. I'm not going to overblow this anymore because I think I've already said enough. But there's a lot more details to this. I will leave the link for this article so you could read it yourself in the description. And my final word is, there are just some things that I think should just be common sense. This should not even be a situation. This should not be a case. This is common sense. How this should have been handled is real common sense, which makes me now question what in the world is going on in Ireland. And the only reason I would question what in the world is going on in Ireland is because I want to know how much a reflection that will have over here. Because if you're so naive to really think that a situation like that has not already happened here or can't happen here, you are sadly mistaken. That's all I got for now, guys. Let me know where it is that you lean on this. Do you think my points that I made was just completely outlandish, just completely out there? Or do you somewhat agree and think, well, this is madness, but this is just the world we live in now? Whatever it is, I will see you again for the next one. Be easy.